Coming up on Valley View News, some Inglewood residents are skeptical of Prop 29.
Why are you going to disrupt something that is working?
Plus, there's an increase in fentanyl drug use in Santa Clarita.
It is with the teens. Again, they're buying stuff off of the streets.
And a historic fall festival returns to Los Angeles.
It's just nice to be outside.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm David Reyes.
And I'm Giovanni Galvez. The City Council passed an ordinance prohibiting pregnancy service centers from issuing misinformation. It's expected to stop the deliberate misleading of people about reproductive health, including abortions. City Attorney Mike Feuer says it comes to reproductive health, time and truth matter most. The ordinance is a response to the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Feuer says some pregnancy crisis centers falsely advertise to women seeking abortion, especially lower-income women. The ordinance will be enforced by Feuer's office. Fines could go up to $10,000, and victims will be able to sue for compensation.
LA City Council member Kevin De Leon says he won't step down despite a public outcry. De Leon is heard on part of the late controversial audio with former Council President Neri Martinez, where racist remarks were made. Martinez resigned from their position last week. De Leon says he's sorry. There was public outrage after the audio was released on the media platform Reddit earlier this month. The council's Wednesday's meetings are now being held on private since protesters are causing delays. Also, California's Department of Justice is investigating the city's redistricting policies in response to what was heard on the audio.
California's COVID-19 state of emergency ends in February. The February date gives officials time to handle any potential winter surges. It also allows time for policy changes if needed. California will continue its so-called smarter plan that helps with overall COVID-19 safety efforts. Meanwhile, health officials say people should continue to be mindful of COVID-19. California's state of emergency allowed it to have the lowest COVID-19 death rate among states.
The state is slowly recovering from an estimated $20 billion in fraud stemming from the COVID-19 crisis. The money was stolen by American and international criminals who falsely claimed unemployment benefits. It was the largest reported pandemic-related fraud in the U.S. The U.S. Department of Labor Office of Inspector General says $163 billion of benefits were paid improperly throughout the nation. In addition, Social Security numbers and fake names were used to commit the fraud. The state is working with National Fraud Task Force in the investigation.
This year's ballot includes a proposal that would create a new rule for dialysis clinics. Some neighborhoods are concerned about what those rules could mean for their community. Our Savanah Taylor reports from Inglewood.
Some Inglewood residents are concerned about Prop 29 and the future of local dialysis clinics. Proposition 29 would make it mandatory to have an on-site physician or nurse practitioner while patients are being treated. 20-year resident Giovanni Martin says that while 29 may improve quality, closing clinics could be harmful.
We have family members that rely on dialysis, and I see what it does for them. And without having the clinics around, I can't imagine how they would be able to survive.
The California for Kidney Dialysis Patient Program Protection is leading the campaign supporting Proposition 29. It would prohibit clinics from refusing patients care based on methods of payment or insurance policy. Inglewood resident Sharon Kendrick says the clinics are sustainable the way they are.
Why are you still continuously trying to push for something that communities don't need, and what are you doing for the patients? How is that going to affect them? Why are you going to disrupt something that is working?
This is the third time in the last 5 years that a prop like Prop 29 has made it on the ballot. California residents can vote in person at their local elections office until November 8th or by mail until October 24th. For Valley View News, I'm Savanah Taylor.
Latino voter engagement in California is low according to a poll by the Latino Community Foundation. Latinos are the second largest voting group in the state. Their turnout could shift the balance of power in Congress. Inflation and housing are top issues for Latinos. Analysts say there should be more campaign outreach to Latinos on these issues. The Latino Community Foundation poll found that 57% of registered Latinos say they know little to nothing about President Biden's Inflation Reduction Act. 2/3 of registered Latino voters say they'll vote in this year's election. 31% say they're unsure if they'll vote.
The average price of a gallon of gas in LA dropped 34 cents last week. Gas Buddy reports the average price now stands at $5.87. The state also is giving gas cost rebates that go from $200 to $1,000. People who filed a 2020 tax return are eligible. Those who filed as dependents won't get any payments. The cash payouts are part of a June state budget deal.
Your stove might be leaking cancerous causing benzene into your home. Benzene is a carcinogen that could lead to cancers such as leukemia and blood disorder. Researchers estimate over 4 tons of benzene per year are leaked into the atmosphere from outdoor pipes. These pipes deliver the gas to buildings. Samples of gas from over 100 homes were gathered to test what gases were emitted when stoves are off. All of the samples had hazardous air pollutants such as benzene, toluene, and xylene. North San Fernando and Santa Clarita have the highest benzene levels in the state.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. An organization called the Stand Up to Cancer is sharing information about various cancer treatments for patients. Our reporter Andrea Gonzalez explains.
The Stand Up to Cancer group funds and develops promising cancer treatments. The organization accelerates the rates of new discoveries because it works directly with scientists. The connection has led to breakthroughs.
We felt that this was an important cause because we want to increase cancer screenings in communities of color throughout Los Angeles, specifically Santa Monica, Venice, West LA.
Dr. Anton Bilchik is the chief of general surgery at Providence St. John Health Center. He's worked with patients such as late actor Chadwick Boseman. He says strides have been made in cancer research, but the search for cancer cure must continue.
We have many more drugs that have been developed that are effective against cancer, but there are very, very few blockbuster drugs. So although we've made progress, we still have a long way to go.
Stand Up to Cancer says it was happy to share cancer and health information during this 2-hour event, especially during the Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Although cancer is the second leading cause of death in the United States, there are many ways for it to be prevented and being caught early. For more information, please visit standuptocancer.org. Reporting for Valley View News, this is Andrea Gonzalez.
Mental health workers in California voted to end a 10-week strike. Around 2,000 mental health professionals in Northern California ended the strike. The ratifying vote was over 1,000 to 36 votes against. Workers from Kaiser Permanente were on strike. Their union want better working conditions that will improve patient care. There's an increase from 60 to 90 minutes for therapists to assess children. The union says Kaiser will increase its staff. 66 healthcare workers in Hawaii remain on strike against Kaiser.
Wealthy Californians are facing an onslaught of tax-the-rich initiatives and laws. One measure could potentially raise taxes for anyone making more than $2 million a year. Proposition 30 would fund electric charging vehicle stations and wildfire prevention. The measure would add an additional $2 million per year to the budget through January 2043. But Governor Gavin Newsom is against the measure. The governor says it's a cop-out by companies like Lyft to avoid covering their business costs. He says the prop is a Trojan horse that puts corporate welfare above state welfare.
Pacific Gas and Electric might conduct its first public safety power shutoff of the year. It says some areas might be affected by high winds and dry air. The shutoff would be a safety measure to prevent fires. The utility is monitoring the winds. PG&E says if winds stay below 40 miles per hour, there's no need to shut power to neighborhoods. That would be a last resort.
A federal appeals court has temporarily blocked President Biden's student loan forgiveness. The 8th Circuit Court of Appeals will consider a motion from 6 Republican-led states. It's unknown what the appeal means for those who have already applied. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre encourages people to still apply. She says the court's order doesn't prevent people from applying. The Biden administration is battling the legal challenges. The payments are expected to restart next year.
The governor swore in over 3,200 fellows for the Californians for All program. The program is a response to the pandemic. It will offer up to $10,000 to community, state, and UC students in exchange for a year in community service. Service opportunities include tutoring and mentoring for low-income students in K-12 schools. 10,000 applications have been submitted so far. The program will help ease the financial burden of a college education.
Anonymous flyers in one LA County community ordered residents to hand out Halloween candy. Neighbors in the Bristol Park community of City of Commerce received a flyer that instructed them to participate in Halloween and at certain hours. The flyer said all residents in the Bristow Park community of City of Commerce are obligated to hand out candy on October 31st, 2022. They were told to give out candy between 8 p.m. and midnight. The order was signed by someone called the Neighborhood Watch Captain. Some residents were upset with the flyer. Online reactions ranged from anger to support. The City of Commerce said residents can do as they please on Halloween.
More to come on Valley View News. Russian Siberians seek refuge on American soil, and Mexico is hit with a hurricane. Stay with us.
Feel the beat of nature at a park or forest near you. Find a forest and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org.
Recently, the western U.S. has averaged more than 1,900 earthquakes and 3,800 significant wildfires each year. So chances are there will be more of both near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
STEM is everywhere, like here, behind the scenes of The Walking Dead.
When we break down clothes, we tumble it with trisodium phosphate, rock salt, and dish detergent.
We stitched together images of our model and created a 3D set that can be walked through in a VR headset.
We're able to turn 12 walkers into 1,000 walker hordes.
STEM can create new worlds on and off the screen. What will you make with STEM? Get inspired at SheCanSTEM.com.
Yo, camping buddy. Okay, you guys ready?
Dude, I thought you were driving.
I thought you were driving.
Oh, I never said I was driving. I definitely can't drive.
Okay.
If you're high, just don't drive. It's illegal everywhere. If you feel different, you drive different.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
For a look into international news, here's Jesse Barrientos in our Digital Media Center.
2 indigenous Russian Siberians who feared being drafted to fight in Ukraine crossed the Bering Strait from Russia to the U.S. to seek asylum. They landed on Alaska's St. Lawrence Island earlier this month, where they asked for asylum. Alaska's U.S. Senator Lisa Murkowski said Vladimir Putin is focused on a military conquest even at the expense of his own people. Russia's defense chief alleged that Ukraine was preparing to provoke them with a radioactive device called a dirty bomb. Ukrainian President Zelensky says that if Russia says Ukraine is preparing something, then that means Russia has prepared all of it. On Sunday, Iran released a security footage that came from Evin prison. A fire broke in the prison that killed at least 8 inmates. The prison is known for holding political prisoners and protesters from demonstrations. There is an outcry after the death of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini. The footage shows crowds of detainees rushing through the cell doors and appeared panicked as smoke filled the air. Officials say that inmates set the sewing workshop on fire. Hurricane Rosalind makes landfall in Mexico, first slamming Puerto Vallarta and Mazatlan, then moving inland. Rosalind's winds of 35 miles per hour are down from its peak of 130 miles per hour. It brought heavy rain and high tides. It moved northeast at 20 miles per hour. The Federal Electricity Commission reports about 150,000 homes lost power. The U.S. National Hurricane Center expects Rosalind to disappear before reaching Texas. Ethiopian and Eritrean forces took control of the historic town Ottawa in the Tigray region of Ethiopia. This ahead of peaceful talks set to begin between the parties of Ethiopian civil war. Ever since the civil war followed the lost battle of Tigray forces, an airstrike hit Ottawa on Friday, causing an unknown number of civilian casualties. Losing Ottawa is the latest setback for Tigray's fugitive leaders, part of the People's Liberation Front. So far, Western diplomats and other leaders are encouraging a reconciliation after 2 years of civil war between the federal government and the TPFL. Back to you in the studios.
The Trump Organization, the holding company for Donald Trump's multiple assets, is set to begin trial after being accused of tax fraud. The company is accused of helping some of its top executives avoid income taxes on compensation they received. The compensation was in addition to their salary and perks like rent-free apartments and luxury cars. If convicted, the Trump Organization could be fined $1 million. It will also hinder the company's ability to qualify for loans and make deals. The Trump Organization says that it did nothing wrong and it looks forward to having its day in court.
The New York subway system is facing an uptick in crime. Police presence will increase as stabbings, robberies, and other violent crimes on the subway are raising concerns about public safety. The system has 472 stations and 665 miles of tracks that connect all New York communities together. Transit crime has increased more than 40% since last year. There have been 3 murders this month alone. Robberies are up 34% and felony assault is up 17%. New York Governor Kathy Hochul and New York City Mayor Eric Adams announced plans to put more police officers on trains and station platforms, and ideas for addressing those with mental issues.
The William S. Hart Union High School School District is making a top priority to inform students about the dangers of fentanyl. Our Jesse Barrientos reports from Santa Clarita.
The fentanyl crisis has spread rapidly among young people. 23 more teens overdosed in the Santa Clarita Valley. Laura Hubbard is the director of nursing for Ascend Healthcare.
So I only work with teens. So it is with the teens. Again, they're buying stuff off of the streets that they think is something else. And they're getting fentanyl. They don't even know that they're using fentanyl.
The William S. Hart Union High School District gave all high schools a video that shows the dangers of fentanyl. They also made posters to put around campuses. Hart's assistant principal, Elizabeth Wilson.
We have 2 different classrooms that have done it. We're putting up posters in all our classrooms and around school to notify students of the dangers of fentanyl.
The high school says it's doing all it can to make the students more aware about fentanyl. The school seems to be taking the crisis serious. Elias Bookhart is a senior.
Students know that Hart is serious about taking action about this new drug coming around who are killing students.
Teens need to be more cautious and aware of what they eat because it could be laced with fentanyl.
Definitely. I'm almost always cautious about what I drink and eat just in case, you never know someone can put something in your drink or put it into your food.
Santa Clarita had a meeting over a month ago to bring awareness about the fentanyl crisis to teens and parents. They still have not decided on another date for a meeting. Reporting from Hart High School, I'm Jesse Barrientos, Valley View News.
Director of the CDC, Rochelle Walensky, tested positive for COVID-19 last Friday and experienced mild symptoms. Walensky attended the World Health Summit in Berlin. A spokesperson says she wore a mask at all times except when eating or publicly speaking. The director's case comes amid concerns in the Biden administration about tough COVID-19 winter ahead, with hospitalizations already on the rise in Europe. Walensky is fully vaccinated and is isolating at home, where she will participate in planned meetings virtually.
When we come back, the LA Chargers took a tough loss. Stay with us.
Plans, you are the best. What about those barbecues you plan in detail for your family? Or your daughter's first costume party? It was out of this world. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Dear moms and dads, what you have achieved here today is going to help us and our futures. is why we are coming up on stage to collect your diplomas.
You know it's true.
Mom, we love you always.
Everything I do
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
One of the deadliest mass shootings in U.S. history at Post nightclub in Orlando.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved. If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
"2022 will be the 5th-year run of the Infinity Festival at the Goya Studios in Hollywood. The festival, which celebrates the creative talents of Hollywood and Silicon Valley, will feature talks from celebrities like Howie Mandel, John Heder, and Bollywood star A.R. Rahman. There will also be demos and panels from sponsors like XLA. Chief Curator Lori H. Schwartz says the festival focuses on how people can use technology to enhance storytelling, media, and entertainment.
Leslie Jordan, an Emmy-winning actor, writer, and singer known for his roles in Will and Grace, American Horror Story, and Hearts of Fire, has died. He was 67. Jordan was driving in Hollywood Monday morning, and it is believed he suffered a medical emergency before crashing into the side of a building. Jordan was a veteran actor whose credits also included The Help, The Cool Kids, and Call Me Kat, which is currently in its 3rd season on Fox.
An Iowa homeowner is using her Halloween display to make a statement about abortion rights. The front yard features some scary and graphic images that have upset some neighbors. Des Moines resident Julie Schwarley says the yard display is designed to catch attention and provoke a reaction and is an unfiltered approach to support women's reproductive rights. Schwarley noted that she had the idea for the display the moment Roe v. Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court. She says she actually got more complaints last year when she had a display in favor of vaccines.
The Netflix hit series Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, has sparked a renewed interest in the infamous serial killer just in time for Halloween. But if you're thinking of grabbing a Dahmer costume off the e-commerce site eBay, think again. A spokesperson for eBay confirmed to CNN that any listings described as Jeffrey Dahmer costumes are being banned on the platform and removed under its violence and violent criminal policy. eBay's policy states that listing that promotes or glorify violence or violent acts are associated with individuals who are notorious for committing violent acts are not allowed.
LA's original farmers market and its accompanying fall festival started in 1934. Our reporter Rocky Walker had fun joining in on this year's seasonal celebration.
The annual Fall Festival has come back swinging at the original farmers market in LA. It attracts thousands from the surrounding areas.
Oh, the farmers market is just a one-of-a-kind place. I mean, it's really a landmark in Los Angeles, and there's such great history, and it's wonderful being able to support the small businesses here.
The Fall Festival and the original farmers market both started nearly 90 years ago. In 2020, it was canceled because of the pandemic. Last year, they held a more intimate celebration, but this year is like the old days. The pig races and petting zoos returned. The popular Artisan Alley draws crowds. This is artist Gene Granada's first time back since the pandemic.
It's been a few years, so it's great to be back and see how it's grown and see how people are having a great time.
Even though Halloween items like pumpkins and candy have seen price increases, 2022 is set to record $10.6 billion spent on the holiday. Analysts say Halloween participation has reached pre-pandemic levels. Now 70% of adults say they'll celebrate Halloween this year.
Especially after the pandemic, it's just nice to be outside.
It took hundreds of vendors and artists to bring this festival back to the vibrant community event it has always been. While pre-carved pumpkins like this one are only available during the fall festival, the uncarved variety will be available at the pumpkin patch here until Halloween. Reporting for Valley View News, I'm Rocky Walker.
For the second time ever, an intra-city or El Tráfico match between the LA Galaxy and LAFC was played in the second round of the MLS playoffs last Thursday. The game came down to the wire when LAFC striker Cristian Arango scored the game-winning goal in the 93rd minute. The final score was 3-2. The LAFC will be moving on to the Western Conference Finals, hosting Austin FC on Saturday afternoon. Austin FC are considered underdogs in the match.
The San Francisco 49ers hosted back-to-back home games, facing off with the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday. They jumped to a 3-point lead in the first quarter, but lost the lead by halftime. The Niners tried for a comeback in the second half, but the Chiefs kept their foot on the gas, outscoring their opponent in the second half. Sunday was the league's National Tight End Day, and 49ers star tight end George Kittle shined, leading the team with 98 total yards and 1 touchdown. Quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo threw for 303 yards with 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. The final score was 23-44. San Francisco has a bye week coming up this weekend.
The Los Angeles Chargers took a tough loss at home against the Seattle Seahawks, losing 37-23. The Bolts struggled all game, never having a lead and getting outscored in every quarter, adding yet another injury to an already injury-riddled defense. Chargers cornerback J.C. Jackson dislocated his right knee just before halftime. Wide receiver Mike Williams was also carried off the field in the fourth quarter with a potential sprained right ankle. Quarterback Justin Herbert had 293 total yards with 2 touchdowns and an interception. Star running back Austin Eckler led the team with 127 yards in total and 2 touchdowns. Chargers have a bye week this upcoming weekend.
The Los Angeles Lakers hosted the Portland Trail Blazers during their latest game at the Crypto.com Arena. The tense matchup came down to the last few possessions, but Lakers star LeBron James failed to hit the game-winning three-pointer in the final 3 seconds. James led the team with 31 points, followed by power forward Anthony Davis with 22 points. Los Angeles having a rough start to the season, going 0-3 so far. The final score was 104-106. The Lakers' next game is on Tuesday at 7 p.m. in Denver against the Nuggets.
The Phoenix Suns beat the LA Clippers in their recent matchup, 112-95. The Suns superstar Devin Booker led the Suns to the victory with 35 points. Suns point guard Chris Paul, who's in his 18th season, reached 11,000 career assists during the match. Forward Marcus Morris Sr. led the Clippers in scoring with 22 points.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson took the top spot at this weekend's box office with his new film Black Adam. The movie brought in close to $67 million during its opening weekend. This is the largest domestic opening ever for Johnson in a superhero role. Black Adam took a very windy route to reach theaters. The character had originally been planned to be a feature as a villain in 2019 Shazam before executives pivoted to give Black Adam a standalone feature. That is all for us at Valley View News. I'm Giovanni Galvez.
And I'm David Reyes. For stories any time of the day, go to our website, CSUNvalleyview.edu. Thanks for watching.